What's going on, y'all? This is your girl Tanisha with live with my brothers Jason and Neo, and we are the trio of Talk That Real Shit.
That's
Y'all know
right.
we back every Monday to do it. Today we got a special guest, Miss Judy McIntyre, representing Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa always repping they deep on the show today. How you doing today, Miss Judy?
I'm doing wonderful. Glad to be with you.
And we calling her, y'all. We calling her Miss Judy because she is Miss Judy indeed. She feisty as hell, and y'all go get to see on this show. So I'm gonna let Neo introduce Miss Judy because they are native Tulsans and she's a whole ass powerhouse. So we go ahead and get to it so we can get to this good conversation. Neo, tell us about Miss Judy McIntyre.
All right, Judy Easley McIntyre is an American politician from the U.S. state of Oklahoma, a Democratic, a Democrat. McIntyre served as an Oklahoma state senator from 2004 to 2012, representing District 11, which includes Osage and Tulsa counties. She also served as state representative from 2002 to 2004, representing District 73, where she was the first freshman appointed to the Speaker's leadership team. For the 16 years before her election to the Oklahoma legislature, she was an elected board member for the Tulsa Public Schools in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
All right, Miss Judy. So look, I mean, bios are a little politically correct. Tell us about you. Tell us about a little bit of your background, where you are now, how you got like started as a senator. Just tell us about Miss Judy as a person.
Okay, and I'll try not to use up too much of the time. I'm born in Oklahoma, the oldest of four, attended segregated schools. Tulsa was totally segregated, never had interaction with white folks except at football games or basketball games across from each other. And the twice that we met for the inner city student council and I think orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
And my church was very active. I'm an African Methodist Episcopal Church member, and my
Can you,
minister during
can you
that
tell them the
time
church
was
that you
very
go to?
involved.
He said
Can you
he
hear
asked
me?
which church you went to. Yeah, we can hear you, Miss Judy.
Oh,
The
Vernon
historic
AME
Vernon
Church.
Church.
Ah,
Yes. And anyway, I got a chance at 18 to go to the March on Washington. Didn't
Mm.
know what it was all about, but I knew I had never been any further than Oklahoma City. Parents didn't want me to go. I went, heard, saw, but did not really realize what was going on because I was just so excited about going. I 2 weeks later, I entered the University of Oklahoma. My life changed. I went from innocence to just outrage. There
Mm.
were 50 black students. They told us at orientation half of you would be gone. They were gone. Uh, Half were gone. When my roommates came into the room and their parents saw that I was black, they wanted me to move.
Mm.
I was tormented at night by the girls who wanted to have fun at my expense, and I thought it was the Ku Klux Klan because peripherally, during high school, of course, I was watching what was going on, but I still didn't know. Uh, I got called a nigger in the classroom, nigger as
mm,
I walked across the campus. So I went and through during that time, it was not only the civil rights, but it was the Vietnam War, the beginning of the women's movement. And
Mm-hmm.
I went from innocent to very, very, very angry. But I was able to finish OU in 4 years because my daddy said there were three of us at OU, and you're going to get out in 4 years. So, despite
Mm.
all
mm.
that was going on, I had to finish school. And it was after that that I joined the Tulsa Black Panthers.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
Okay,
as a
Black
kitten,
Panther.
we had no agenda. And
I
on
know that's
Orchard
right.
Greenwood down there, to show you we had no agenda. We had no agenda, so we're going to go down and protect the prostitutes who were down there at the time. We
Mm.
had talked, quote, revolution, but never introduced guns. So when the police came, the guys handed us, the girls, the gun. I stood there and shook, and I thought, this is what daddy's talking about. Fight from the
Mm.
inside. I was going to get killed. Um, we were lucky the police did not check me. And so I left the Panthers to work inside. Now, I was married 11 years to a politician. He went to the House. I was a politician's wife. That's how I got involved. He always thought I was too militant. I was going to kill his career, but I didn't. He killed his own self. But
Oh,
we won't go into that. But you can imagine, Tanisha, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
So I was married 11 years. And I just fell in love with politics. And because during that time, they were in session more than 90 days. He was gone most of the time. So I was a social worker in child abuse and neglect. And I did that plus the things that he needed to do, he couldn't do because they were in session. So that's how I really got involved. So I've been involved since then, even though, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Miss Judy, like your story is inspiring, and I think a lot of us. What were you about to say? You about to say something, Miss Judy?
I couldn't hear you, but I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, let me pull up to the mic. Let me pull up to the mic a little bit more. But I think your story is inspiring because a lot of us straddle that line of being, public servants versus politicians versus revolutionaries, and it seems like you've been able to do all of them. So I just want to say thank you for your work and your service, and for being a strong Black woman, because we need that. We need that. And one of the questions that I asked just to kick us off, and I know I didn't even tell y'all what we're talking about today, but clearly Miss Judy, Miss Badass Judy, has again served in all these capacities to help, to just serve Black people. And so we're talking about politics today. We're talking about, passing the baton and grooming a new leadership, and just the upcoming elections, all kind of stuff. Gun reform, legislation that supports Black people. We talking about it all, y'all. We talking that real shit. Wherever we go, we just need y'all to follow us. So with that said, with everything that you've done in your career, do you think that it's time for the seasoned elected officials, the seasoned Black elected officials, to pass that torch to the younger generations? Or are y'all, the seasoned elected officials, are y'all still in a position to address the needs of the now?
Now, I'm going to tell you what my philosophy is. I get out before I'm put out. I get out while I'm still liked. I don't have any children. I could never have kids. But I do believe that, like Nathaniel, Nehemiah, and others are the next generation. You all are far smarter because you were exposed earlier. I didn't have a TV until I was in high school. Didn't travel on a plane till I've been married twice. My first one didn't last but 8 months. But anyway,
move around.
We have an obligation. I know when I was standing up there, I didn't love it, but when you graduated from college in 1967, if you weren't engaged or peeing, Black women, all women, you were going to be an old maid. I should have been an old maid. But anyway, yes, we have an obligation. When you look at the larger society, they make sure, and I worked in every campaign that my ex-husband and I, we learned. We got a PhD because we volunteered to work in other campaigns. Never for pay, because our state representative said no. Because when you want something, you pick up that phone. If they've already paid you, they may not pick up the phone. So you make connection with other people, and they owe you for working in those campaigns. I have a concern about people. I think young people, everybody should run. But you also need to have some basic understanding. And a lot of people have never worked in a campaign. They don't know what it takes. And when they get out there to run, it's an eye-opener. But do we have an obligation? We do. Now, too many folks get in office, and for whatever reason, they think it belongs to them, and that they should never reach out to bring anybody in. What I did, and Nehemiah, you know this, we can only serve 12 years in the legislature here in Oklahoma. I served 10. I stepped down so that the young man, Jabbar Shoemate, could serve as senator. He had 4 years left, 2 years left. No, wait a minute, how did it go? Anyway, if I had not stepped down to give him that, he could have run for Senate, but he would have only had 2 years. So I stepped down so he could take it. So I went to the legislature after I had worked 31 years. My identity was not tied up in any kind of title, but unfortunately people get in and the title becomes them. They become possessive of the deal and don't want anybody else to learn. We have an obligation. Clay stayed too long, and they forget that they have an obligation, that they're not going to be there forever, and they have an obligation to reach back like my minister did. My minister was the state representative. My ex-husband and I, when he was 28 when he went to the legislature. We had no young friends because we hung around Reverend Ben Hill, followed him, learned all kind of things from him. And when he died, it was a natural progression to go in there. Of course, my ex-husband had opposition, but we won because we had been working, with Reverend Hill. He reached out to us. We have an obligation to do that.
That's good.
And that's a long answer to your question, but hell yeah, you do.
Yeah. So, Miss Judy, I wanted to chime in right quick because you mentioned the importance of transition, and here in Atlanta.
I'm not hearing you, Jason.
Oh, can you hear me? You can't hear me?
Pull up on the mic, Jason. Pull up on the mic.
I think I'm in it. It's like right here next to my mouth. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So in Atlanta, we had Ivory Young, who recently passed away. And then we also had John Lewis, and I grew up and lived in both of their districts. We did have new blood that came in, not a native of Atlanta, but Antonio Brown, who has definitely taken over Ivory Young's seat and has caused a lot of good trouble, in my opinion, in Atlanta. But now also we have the big dynamic here, love John Lewis, God rest his soul. But we have a huge transition with his seat. And so the Democratic Party has basically chosen someone to run in the November election.
I don't trust it. I don't trust it.
Yeah, but I and it's nothing against her.
You're not
Senator Nakima.
Is it me?
It may. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, or can everybody hear me?
We can hear you. You can't hear us, Miss Judy.
It's all. It
looks like her internet's freezing up.
I can hear noise, but it's not clear.
I think you got some internet issues, Miss Judy.
Can
some
you hear me?
connectivity issues. We can hear you.
Yes. Oh yeah, I see them saying it's the internet.
You think it's me?
Yes, ma'am.
It's me.
It's okay. Trust me. On the last two shows,
I'm on a tablet.
Uh-oh, you done froze, Miss Judy. We go keep pushing, and hopefully you can hear us, Miss Judy.
Yeah, I think it'll come through. But I just wanted to, respect the thoughts that she gave around the importance of transition.
Should I do it on my phone?
Miss Judy, try moving around your house real quick and see if the internet clears up for you.
She's like, okay, well, let me make sure the house
Take a little walk, Miss Judy.
Walk.
Oh,
we lost her.
It's totally okay.
We go.
Miss Judy will definitely be back.
She'll be back.
She definitely has a lot of fire, but to her point, we do need to make sure that we're doing two things, right? One, we need to make sure that we are driving an interest in our young people to want to be in politics and want to take on government, right?
Right.
But then the other piece of that is we do need longtime Black leaders who are in positions to have a succession plan. Like, running a foundation for grandparents, that's one of the things that we talk to them so frequently about. What is your succession plan? If something happens to you, what can we do to ensure that your grandchildren are okay? We have to do the same thing with politics. If Ivory Young, unfortunately, like John Lewis, they both were ill, and they ended up passing away while in office. And so that is a reality of being Black in America. We're also battling health issues and challenges. So we have to make sure that we're building that base strongly. And welcome back, Miss Judy. I love Miss Judy.
Miss Judy, Miss Judy is giving me all the goddamn life today, boy.
But great points that Miss Judy made
Yeah.
about transition.
So I can hear.
We can
Okay.
hear you.
We
Okay.
can hear you, Miss Judy.
You can hear me? Yeah.
We
can
can
hear
hear you, Miss Judy.
Now on my phone. Yeah. Well, see, I
There
tell
we
y'all
go.
I don't know much about this tech.
It's okay. No, but imagine what teachers and students and parents are going through right now. So these technological issues
I
don't
can't
bother
imagine.
me because it's such a reality,
Yeah.
and people need to see that online learning, these Zoom meetings are not as easy as people just want to,
They're not.
put their hands
Good
and think
flag,
it works
Jason.
like that.
Exactly.
Great flag. Great flag.
Yeah.
So Jason, if you could, because we lost Miss Judy for a second, we got it back. If you can kind of recap your point, so we can talk about that, because I think it's a great point about succession plans and stuff like that. And then,
Yes.
where the disconnect is when we don't create a succession plan and we have these leaders that's been in office for so long, and it's like they damn near die in office. And not to say that, that's not okay, but some of them just been sitting here too damn long.
Sitting there
Yeah.
too long, and they know Miss Judy, because I want you to, give some wisdom to this. My thing is they know that they're ill, and I would rather them preserve their lives and come out of office and help prepare someone else than to feel like they have to stay in office and die. And now we've lost them physically,
I know
but
it.
we also struggle
I
and
know.
battle with who's going to fill their seat with no.
But let me ask y'all a question. So is it a matter of, because again, like the way I was feeling this morning, it was so many feelings. Like, if for those of you who don't know, we've had riots and looting erupt in Chicago again. And so sometimes as activists, we struggle in this moment of what are we fighting for? Is this really worth it? Is the stress worth it? Right. And so is it a matter of these politicians staying in office because they're that passionate, or because that power is that influential? Which one is it? That's the question. That's what I want to know.
Well, you know what? It's probably a little of both, but I'll tell you what. What happens is that people, they're seducted, that they get seduced rather by the power. And what they don't understand is that yes, you're given respect for them, but not necessarily for who you are. And so that when you ask for something, people are running to get it done for you. And so I guess it would be easy to forget that you're going to only be in and out. And once you're gone, you're gone. And most folks don't even know that you were there, not even the politicians that are there. So it is just critical. It is critical. And what are one of the things you have to do when you find somebody like that? Then what you do is stay in their face in this way. If they've got issues, or try to draw them to issues that you're interested in. You can't get them to do that. If it's some issue that you can hold your nose long enough to work with them, get inside, learn and work from the inside and find out what the weaknesses are, all you got to do is look at what is it, the ethics report, who gives the money, and you'll know where to go.
Yeah, that's good. So Tanisha, I had a question for all of you guys. I'm really in tune to this because we have upcoming elections, right? And to Miss Judy's point about the ethics board and who's actually funding these campaigns, I've talked about this a couple of times on our shows in regards to the lack of really getting shit done with our Black elected officials, because in my opinion, they're bought and sold because of who is funding their campaigns. And so, Miss Judy, what is the struggle that politicians go through in regards to having to answer to the people, following the protocols of being an elected official, and then also navigating the politics of those who fund your campaign?
That's a loaded ass question, Jason.
Well, but there is an answer. the reality is that candidates depend on the people for their vote. Most communities don't give you money.
All right.
Most of my money came from outside of Tulsa. I mean, outside of the community, the district. But what you have to do is say, thank you for the money, but you don't owe me. You don't owe me. I just, and a lot of I got money from the NRA. I have a 0 rating and proud of it. They stopped giving me money. But when somebody doesn't give you money, you look for some money somewhere else. But
can I ask a question though? Like, my frustration is the fact that it takes so much money. Like, you literally have to buy a seat. Why do we have to raise so much damn money? And if you have no money, you could be the best public servant in the world and not raise any money because your shit is legit, and you will not get that seat. So is it really that you're buying political offices? Is that what it really is?
Well,
and at the end of the day, does that serve us?
Well, let me tell you what. When I ran for the Senate, I had my campaign office was in one of the buildings, North Point, Nehemiah. My rent was $500. My rent was $500. A black physician owned that was his property. That was what I paid him. Then we had to put telephones in. That was prior to this technology we got today. Had telephones. Then you've got to have volunteers to come in. The volunteers come in, you got to feed them. Then got to have stamps. Then you got to have mailings. Then you got to have posts. And when you buy your signs and the billboards, you got to pay in front. It ain't no loan. You got to pay up front. If you're going, I spent over $20,000 just on black media, the Oklahoma Eagle and Russell Perry's radio station. So if you're going to be competitive, since you are buying it, but
Miss Judy. Miss Judy, you got to cha-cha to the left. We done lost you again.
She was talking some major points though, and I think that it's going around now that thank you for the money, but you don't own me. And then I thought about that song from the movie with those 3 white women. When they walked out. Yes, and they were singing "You Don't Own Me." It just automatically came up, but it's so true because we have so many black elected officials who are bought and sold, and they are afraid of standing up for our communities and speaking
I went out for
and
some
doing.
reason.
It's okay. It's technology.
Did you all
so
hear me? I went out. Okay.
We got you, Miss Judy. You back in here.
But did you
You're
hear
back in.
Oh, okay. Well, as I was saying, I had an opponent who used construction paper for his signs. Guess who got their ass whooped? Wasn't me. It was them. He couldn't compete. Okay. Now,
but can you admire those efforts? Like, you put the effort in to actually make campaign signs on construction paper. Like, that's passion. That's diligence.
That's creativity.
That's admirable. And so, what about those people? If they don't have enough money, do they not deserve to be in office?
I didn't say that. They do deserve, but what they have to do is see. I had an edge. I had been married 11 years, so I knew a lot of people. I had been a social worker for 31 years, in and out of people's homes, in court, at the hospitals and stuff. I had been on the school board for 16 years. So I had a track record, I had name recognition, and I had people I could call in advance and say, I'm thinking about running. If I run, can I have your support? I'm going to need money. You got to have a budget. You have to tell people I want to spend X amount on this. Can you give me this? You got to be able, you spend a lot of time, most of the time, half of the day I was begging for money. The other half I was walking the precincts. You got to have money.
Good.
One of the things that the money that you just because somebody gives you money doesn't mean that you got to vote for it. If it's a bad bill against the community, my community, well, I'm not going to vote for it. And they can get mad all they want to. They don't put me in office, and that little money that they gave me, I can try to get it from somewhere else.
That's good.
That was my attitude.
That's good.
And so
She
one of
said
the
that
things,
little money.
yeah. So one of the things that I'm hearing that's really important is networking, right? You gotta build those relationships. You can be able to,
It's old school strategy.
That goes back to working with whatever party, whether it's Republican or Democrat. I worked precinct. I worked in the precinct. I was delegates to the conventions that they had. That's the networking. And so when you get ready to run, then some of these people in the party that you work for or supported, they owe you some money. And you should be able to go to them. What I also did, I was also Tulsa County Democratic chair. And so, as if you can be involved and network, it is even better. And you need to, and each, like when I was on the school board, it's a whole different set of people that's involved as opposed to the Democratic list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so each, depending on where you are, there's a different group. I can't go to the Democrat Party, to a lot of the Democrats and ask for help for school board stuff because that wasn't their interest.
Right, right.
So I have a question for you, Miss Judy. So in 2020, we've seen a wave of Black women who are entering positions, political positions. It's absolutely great. And so in St. Louis, we saw a female Black activist, Cori Bush, just unseated Representative William Lacey's Clay's political dynasty, right? I think you spoke about that a little bit earlier. And then Marquita Bradshaw overcomes odds to win Senate nomination in Tennessee. So what should we be doing to attract more Black people to civic spaces and offices?
That's a good question.
Yes.
What should you as young people be doing, or just to attract people?
I say, what should experienced political heads be doing, and what should younger folks? What should we all be doing to attract more people like Greg Robinson, those types?
Oh God, yeah. First, you identify the Greg Robinsons of the world.
Okay.
And wrap your arms around them, expose them, take them. People that have expressed an interest in politics, I took them to political meetings. I took them to meet the people. Now we've got this virus thing going on, so that kind of stopped it. Like with the young man that wanted to run, Jabbar Shumate, his boss let him stay at the Capitol with me for 2 years. I took him everywhere except when we had executive meetings. We have to identify those. If it's not in your heart, then I don't care how articulate or whatever they may be. If they have no interest in politics, it's not going to work. So once you identify, then you try to expose them, network with them, get them hooked up with as many opportunities to learn, to connect. I think about Kojo. Kojo on paper is dynamite, but he don't have no connections nowhere. Nobody, what I mean?
Who is Kojo, Miss Judy?
He's running for Congress, and an articulate young man. An attorney, he's never practiced, but and I know I'm kind of going around in circles to answer the question, but you first have to identify, then you got to make sure that they have a passion for politics. If there's no passion for politics, I don't care. It's not going to work. I worked with Greg's daddy right after my divorce, and he was instrumental in helping me to kind of find my confidence, to find my way, make a new world and life for me. But he died suddenly, and so I was kind of left. to just figure it out. Uh,
Mm.
we also have to, the schools do not educate our kids about how politics works. And that right there keeps us ignorant. And so we've got to look at the school system. As a
Yeah.
social worker, to me, it's a holistic approach. You can't just do
Right.
one thing.
Right.
It's all interconnected.
Right.
We have to have the Black Wall Street Times that educates the adults, the retirees, who generates that interest, and they look at their grandkids or their kids and say, "Hey, this is going on. Let me take them there." We have to grow them early, also. But for those that are adults, we have to look around and see if they have that passion, if they do. And a lot of it, they have to be, how much of a self-starter are they? Because you can't pack them. They
Yeah.
have to be
That's
able
good.
to carry the heavy load, and
Yeah.
everybody else are just there to assist.
But let
I
me,
don't
Miss
know if
Judy,
I
first of
really
all,
answered that.
you did. Because first of all, I just want to let you know you got a lot of fans. We got people asking for your phone number, your Twitter name, all kind of stuff. So they loving you on here. For real, Miss Judy, they loving the hell out of you. You got fans. You
Oh,
popular out here.
wow,
You
I'm
Beyonce
honored.
level famous.
I heard that. I wish I
But
had
let me,
Beyonce's waistline, but anyway, go ahead.
you can, I mean,
I
we
know
can, if
that's
we
right.
all had the money, we can have Beyonce's waistline and we had the bag,
I
but if
heard
you raise
that.
money,
I
we
heard
talking
that.
about the bag, you can definitely maybe buy a waistline these days. But I
Yeah,
just want
that's
to,
true.
ask a question, because you talked a lot about people needing to have the passion to be in politics, which is
Yeah.
absolutely correct. I know personally I had ambitions to enter politics years ago, but then when I saw how messy it was and how sometimes it can corrupt, your mission,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you are a person that's, like, again, as you said, seduced by the power, and ultimately you abandon your community. And so how do we
Mm-hmm.
have those conversations, or how do we engage people who don't have that passion for politics? Because we still need those activists, we still need those revolutionaries. So how do we cover all of that land so that we can make sure we're engaging people on every level, so we can get the maximum impact out of our community? And
Yeah,
that's for
because
all
you know what,
y'all.
everybody brings something to the table, and that's what
Yes.
you have to tell people. You have to identify what those skills are that people have, and put those persons in this kind of situation that will give them some success, and hopefully they may move out of that category. But people have to be comfortable in what they're doing. Politics is scary to people. Politics is a blood sport. You got to be able to. Nehemiah is softer than I am. See, I do believe that you cut the snake's head off. Politics
Mm.
is a pretty rough game, and when you're
Miss Judy
doing
say she
battle,
chop
it
people
ain't
up.
personal.
She
Well,
ain't no
yeah,
You
that's
killer,
got
what
but
to
you
don't
chop
have
the
to.
push her.
head. Yeah.
Miss Judy ain't no killer, but
Yeah,
don't
that's
push
what you.
her.
No, that's right. But what you see when you do, it's war. It is war, and so some people would rather not do that, so they could do
Mm-hmm.
something else. But you find everybody is needed to do something different, and those people who have the don't mind being in the that's where I am now. I'm a former elected official. I am not going to go anywhere, but I do have the passion. uh I don't mind. I've been on the front line. I'll take the slings and arrows. I'm going to say the things that maybe uh young people who are still making a way in this community don't need to have that a part of their label. And what you gonna do to me at 75? Nothing.
Mm.
Nothing. So I can be the butthole, while I can be the bad cop. See, there are roles for everybody. I can be the
Right.
Mm-hmm.
bad
Right.
cop, and they'll be glad to talk with Nehemiah, the good cop.
That's
So we
good.
all
So
have a
Miss
role
Judy,
to play.
so how did you navigate that space of being a senator, but and playing the political game, but also saying what the fuck you said? How did you
Well,
navigate
you
that
know
and
what?
keeping it real, but
You,
playing politics?
I'll tell you. I think it really started when I went to OU. I was
Mm-hmm.
terrified I cried. I begged my parents, let me come home. I don't know who these people are. And after a month, my daddy wouldn't take any more telephone calls, and he said, write me. So I had to deal with it. And we helped to form the Black Union. The few Blacks that were there came together. We helped each other. We were frightened together. We, you know, we all had the same kind of experience. So based on, I think from that point is I learned to have courage, because one time we were cornered, Blacks, at the student union, and actually it was white students that probably protected us and kept us from getting hurt. But I think also watching what was going on nationally, the dogs, the water holes, the killings and stuff. And I always said to myself, we're not going through anything like that. And if they got that kind of courage, I'm not going to be scared of these white folks and nothing else. Right. And so I somehow, and I never had a fight in my life, and I still haven't. But I make people think just with the use of my mouth. But I learned to overcome that fear. It is a fear, because when you out there, things are real. I've had to have police protection. But you know what? If I always think my ancestors had less resources than we ever thought about having, and yet they persevered so that we could get here. But I was also lucky too, because my grandmother was an activist in a little town in Sapulpa, and my generation was lucky to learn the past. Your generation, I think, I didn't have kids or anything, but I think my generation's kids, they were busy trying to give them things that they didn't have, and they didn't teach them what they needed to know about our history and about the courage that you got to have, because the fight never ends.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was good. I think it's important for us to find ways to effectively bridge the gap. I was in love with some of the comments, because I feel like one sister in particular is like picking my brain about the need for a third party, developing and investing in PACs. And I think it speaks to a lot of the conversations that we have had about investing within our own Black communities. And I think it's a struggle for some people, and I've encountered it as well, trying to change systemic racism in America while building, because that's the big challenge that we're all facing. With one hand, I'm fighting, and then with the other hand, I'm building, and then I'm still trying to be a father, a brother, a husband, a partner, an educator, a human being, right? We're trying to do all of these things in the middle while we're building in one hand and fighting in the other hand. So I'm just soaking up all this knowledge from Miss Judy. It's just amazing. But, I wanted to throw out there the importance of developing a PAC for us. I know some cities have small, entities that are doing that, but how do we connect that nationally? And also investing in the candidates, the leaders, the grassroots organizers who too often are left behind or not considered because we don't invest in the community.
And can I add to that? Can I add to that real quick, Miss Judy? Holding these long-standing organizations accountable, because realistically, if we have organizations like the NAACP, this is not a new concept. So why haven't these long-standing, historically Black-centered organizations already done this? And if they've done it, why has it failed? So how do we hold them accountable for their missions?
Oh yeah, I got something on that one.
Well, the unfortunate thing is that a lot of the organizations that started out, with its goal to serve our people, like it became a corporation.
Don't keep it real, Miss Judy. Tell them what it is.
It was a launching pad for other things. It was a power base. And like a lot of other things, they forget what the mission is and who they are serving. Now, you first of all have to decide, is this the mission that you want to, is this the agency or organization rather that you want to invest your time in to make the change, because that means you cannot work from the outside. You got to go inside, and that's a process. And you all know, that they will keep you down as long as they can,
Yes.
and hopefully to run you away, to outweight you. So you got to be serious about it, and you got to have patience. But you know what? Let me go back to something that Jason said. The PAC, the political PAC. When I talked earlier about not getting money from Black people, the PAC wasn't a concept then. It is a concept now, and I truly had forgotten that. That's one of the things that you can do, and that's what a lot of the younger people, particular Republican legislators there, they each have different PACs. They go in with other people, and that way they keep their party filled with new Republicans or Democrats, whoever it happens to be. But in Oklahoma, we're a real red state, so most of the money goes into Republican coffers. But you cannot go wrong with developing and trying to get PACs started to help. Now, the unfortunate thing is, and maybe it's from just years of the divide and conquer that the white man has done to, we don't trust each other when it comes to money. And when you're talking about nationally, which it should be, which would be, it's what is needed. Good luck. And I don't want to throw water on it, but it's reality. You will have to work through that barrier of distrust.
Yes.
We talk unity, but when it comes to doing it, people's egos get in the way. And we don't trust each other, and how we do that, I don't know. But I think that that's an answer that your generation will find, because my
Yes. I'm
generation,
hoping.
it's not going to change.
They're
not going to change.
So on that note, that kind of brings us back to the topic of the conversation. You saying your generation won't change. And so does that mean that, again, your generation needs to get the hell out of these Senate seats, these, representative seats, all that stuff, because they won't change, and this new generation is so different?
Yeah.
Miss A.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the 21st century.
Come on.
You know what? Listen, I am not saying it was bad. I'm not saying that. I didn't bring bacon home. Republicans were in power, so I can't look and say, oh, this building over here and there. But social issues. And that's why I scream and yell. My voice is so loud, because that's what my generation had to do to be heard. It is the 21st century, and everything is moving in a different direction. And it's not to say that my generation's ideas were bad. They were sufficient for that time. They met the needs of that time. And you cannot be afraid. You cannot be timid about saying, I want this. And if it means taking it from somebody, it ain't personal. But you can't make it personal. It has to be about progress. What will this mean in terms of progress? That's why I am so just so in love with Nehemiah, because he's bringing a whole new voice and ideas and passion and courage and hope and fear from white folks that is going to make the difference. Our city is our community that we live in is almost dead. And if we did not have these young people out here in the street, and if we didn't have voices like Nehemiah, Greenwood would only be a memory. And yes, you must, as young people, take the reins, do the homework, do the research, muster up the courage, join forces, put the egos aside, fight each other behind closed doors, be unified when you come out, and kick ass.
That's right. And that's the show right there. So we'll see y'all next Monday.
No.
That was so good.
No. Because Miss Judy got more. Miss Judy on fire, and so I just wanted to because I don't. You know what? I don't want to come off. I don't want anybody on the platform to think, or anybody watching the show to think that we're like ageist or anything. You know, because I don't know if I necessarily agree with our seasoned elected officials needing to go, because we got people, Miss Judy, and we saw the Honorable John Lewis fighting for these more progressive issues. You know, he stood for LGBTQ rights. He stood for immigration. He stood for so many rights.
John Lewis, he evolved though.
Right. And so I think it's an evolution issue. Right. Right. So I guess is it laziness? Like, why aren't these other elected officials? Because even, at the local levels, the grassroots level, we see so many people quiet on issues that impact our community today. And so I'm just trying to figure out, since you've had the inside scoop, like you've been in the boardrooms and in the chambers, what's their fucking problem?
The power struggle. I think I agree with what Ms. Judy said earlier.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand, because it's like at the end of the day, you come from these communities, and how could you be so far removed that you completely abandon them? I can't understand it.
Listen, because you stayed there, and as I said, people turn flips to do anything that you want done because you'll quote either the congressman, you got a title in front of your name, and then you slowly begin to drift away from the people, and you spend more time with those people that are going to give you money that you may be able to advance yourself or your family. And you look up and you don't even relate to the community. I live in the community. I could have moved somewhere else. I lived with my clients. I worked with, I am not going to. I got the same neck. Let me put it like this. I got the same knee on my neck, whether I got a title or not. I can be called a
That's good.
Anytime.
Yeah.
When my back is turned, I'm sure there were comments and things made. But I know one of the questions you asked, should you stay forever? Well, the longer you stay, you learn the system. That's part of what's going on with Oklahoma with the 12 years. By the time you learn, it's time to go. So you got these young folks who, when I say young, I'm not talking about in age. I'm talking about in terms of their length of time. And so they come in, and a lot of the things have already been done, and the time is wasted. So there is an argument to be made: is should you leave out? How long should you stay?
Mm-hmm.
When you young people see somebody who has detached themselves, then I'm gonna tell you what, you don't wait for a week before the election or a month before the election. You start working on their ass right then. You spend a whole year in advance trying to get rid of them. You cannot listen. You talking about somebody that's got roots deep when you're talking about an incumbent that you're going after. You got to start early. And if you know you're going to run, you don't start. Now, Greg is different because he had name recognition, people in our community. But for the most part, you got to start early, because the very people that you're talking about that have ignored you, they're not even paying attention. Because I'm going to tell you what, politicians only understand who can put them in office and who can take them out. And they look at the election sheets, and you look to see, and the white folks look at it too, and in our community, and they see, it's about 15,000 elected officials, but voters, but only 2,000 voted. So, hey, they can yell and scream. When I sat on the school board, when I sat in meetings, and you have public people, you have the public speaking, and it looked like that the folks sitting in the panel were taking notes of what was being said. They was writing the grocery list. Okay?
They still doing it.
Okay? They're still doing it. And 5 minutes is not enough. But you get up there and you say what you have to say, but you do your real work outside. And that work has to start early on. Anytime you're going to lose, always when you come in late.
Yeah.
So, Tanisha, I have
That's the
something I
power.
wanted
That's
to
the
ask.
power.
Mm-hmm.
How do we reclaim? So we've been reclaiming our time. Auntie Maxine has been saying that, and I've been trying to get a lot of books as possible to read up on knowledge of our ancestors and former activists to figure out how we can bridge this gap. And so, Tanisha, I wanted to ask you and Neo and Miss Judy this question about strategy, because having one of my advisors is a political scientist, and when I was in college, I went to a PW and there was no representation on the SGA to get what the students needed. So what do? We dismantled it and we shut it down. We took over, but we had a strategy so much to the point that it helped to diversify the student body in the school, because there hasn't been a white president since. I have been SGA president. My mentee came right after me. We had someone else. We had the first disabled student that became, SGA president, but it was a strategy that helped change the dynamics of the campus. So much so that it led to an apology from the city, because our school is built on a slave burial ground and plantation. And so I'm giving that analogy to say this. That was a strategy that came from what our predecessors had used, right? Because the first SGA president, when he heard that I was running, it was a 40-year gap in between when he won and when I won. And so he came back and he had power, right? He had resources, he had money. And so I'm giving all of this to say, how do we connect? How do we get our activists, those who are in political office, and our communities to better organize, better strategize to get the things that we know we deserve and need in this country?
Can I go first? Can I please go first? I mean, I get a little frustrated because, Jason, I think you answered the question. Like, it's been written. Like, it's been written. These strategies have been written. When we look at, the civil rights era and how they got the Voting Rights Act passed and, segregation removed, like the strategy has been written. All we need to do is tweak it to fit the times that we living in, which honestly, we have a lot more tools with social media and all kind of stuff, and so it frustrates me again, going back to the civil unrest and people thinking that, we just go out here and loot and it's go solve stuff. Like, no, they boycotted. For what was it, 400 days? I can't remember the exact number of days they boycotted. It was long. They boycotted Montgomery and they hit the system. And that's how we change policy. That's how we change things. And so to think that we just go out here and tear some white people shit up and it's go change something. No, we have to hit them in the pockets long term. And we have written proof of that from history. That's the strategy that we implement. What our past leaders and our current leaders, we give that knowledge to our future leaders. And that's what we need to do. And so that's what frustrates me about these short-term actions and plans nowadays when the shit has already been written. So we just need to lean on they did it for us. So they paved this road for us.
Here's the question that I have now. Miss Judy had talked about it earlier. Like, one of the issues that we have in the Black community is that, we don't necessarily fund each other. And it may be because we don't have the resources to do so. However, I will say this: I've seen a lot.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's what it is.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more African Americans or Black folk this year actually putting their funds into political campaigns. So I think that we're waking up as a people and as a nation in general, that we have to put our funds into these PACs, and we have to put our funds into these candidates if we want them to win. We have to pay, we have to do our role too.
But that's voter education, though. We need more voter education there, because we can't just keep voting Democrat. That's how we do.
And so that's the question that I have for y'all. Like, how do we get and that's just specifically to Tulsa, that I've noticed that more Black people are putting their funds into candidates. But overall, like, how do we get African Americans to realize that they have to, dig in their pockets and help support these candidates that they want?
Y'all, I got to push back just a little. We have a narrative that. Nehemiah, go ahead, Ms. Judy. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Nehemiah, part of it is role modeling. Stop it, sissy. Okay. Part of giving to Greg, it was to, I didn't know it was going to end up in the newspaper, but it's to role model. Okay. So if you give, I give, then other people may give. They may not give what we give, but they will start giving. We have to show them. I'm telling you, it's people in this community that's got money. They never gave it to me, but I didn't have to turn on the community because, I took the white folks' money and still voted whatever way was best interest. But not everybody's going. Sissy, stop it.
Yeah, everybody's not going to invest
So,
because we still have a lot of black
that's
people
the
that are
first
trying to
story.
keep up with the Joneses. Because we have money, we have black people that have money.
Well,
Look
exactly.
at,
We
I'm
got
gonna go
money.
back to
We got
to
money.
the
We get
show
money from the
last
churches.
week. Right, last week's show about the churches. We have to do our research. Look at the stats of these mega churches that are black across this country. Look at all of these production companies and these studios and the clothing industry and health and beauty. So we have people that have money. What are they investing in? That's what I keep telling people in Atlanta. I love T.I., I love Killer Mike, but how many schools do they own? How many candidates are they investing in to get the right people in place? So I want black people to stop with we don't have the funding. We have the funding. Black people too goddamn busy giving the money back to the damn people that are oppressing us or putting it in places that don't help move shit. We don't own any schools. What are we doing? We don't even own
no
nursing
schools, no
homes
hospitals, no
for
grocery
our
stores.
black seniors. So even people that are beyond the age of 75, we can't even protect as a black community because they're in nursing homes that are owned by people that live in redneck counties, and then we wondering why our seniors are dying in these places. So black people, we got to invest in this. We have the money, but we giving it to Gucci.
Jason Reddy, he came dressed to go the fuck off today. Y'all see he and his I'm going to fuck off where?
Because I'm tired. Like, we got to do it for our people. We got to stop making the excuses. Black people have the money. We need the black people with money to invest in our children, in our seniors, in our communities.
And the other thing that's so unfortunate, and I think one of you all hit on it, is of the third party. Yes, we probably do need a third party, and that's going to be difficult to to develop. And I'm not trying to throw rain on that. I told you I was Democratic Tulsa County chair. Now, the Democrats have never done us right. The Republicans are even worse. So I work within the Democratic Party to make them to try to get them to do right at the level that I can influence them in. Now, I had my name taken off. I told them don't send me nothing from Tulsa Democratic Party. I work with the state, Alicia, who are Democrat. But you see, they gonna get involved.
Miss Judy put their ass on Do Not Disturb.
People put them out.
Yeah. Well, they tried. I'm gonna tell you what, I hate to say this word, but they tried to fuck me, and they did fuck me. And so I got out of the Democratic Party here in Tulsa County.
I know that's right, Miss Judy.
I work with the Democrats, and I support Democrats that I want to, but not through the party. I work with the state Democratic chair to help her. She's the first black woman we've had. I help her in any way. I'm the bad cop for her. She can be the good cop, but I know the demons in the Democratic Party, but they even worse damn demons in the Republican Party. I would have to pull out an AK-47 to even sit down with any of those damn people. So,
but that's the thing. We have to stop supporting parties and start supporting people. That's right. The thing. That's what we don't understand.
People.
And we need to put the Democrats on notice.
I supported. Nehemiah. I don't know if you know John Smalley. He was the county commissioner. He was a Republican. He and I served in the House together. When he ran, I supported him. Democrats got mad at me. I didn't give a damn. He won. And I believe that the best person for the job doesn't necessarily have to be a Republican or a Democrat. Could be an independent.
That's good.
But we have to look at the people. We got to do research on those people. You got to look at their history. And because a lot of folks will come up with all the rhetoric that you want to hear.
That's right.
But you see, what's real is their record. And you got to do the homework before you fall in love with somebody. And I don't care
That's
if they're
good.
Republican, Democrat, black, or white.
White, yes, that's right. That's
And I'm
right.
gonna tell you
That's
one of
that's
the
a
things.
word.
Now I get my, and Nehemiah knows, I get myself. There's some people in the community who don't like me because I haven't supported certain people. It's never been personal, but one of the things that your generation has to understand, we yelled and screamed, and this is what I tried to tell. We yelled and screamed because they didn't hear us. We were invisible. You all have to be able to sit down and build a working relationship. You ain't got to love them. They ain't got to love you. It's all about respecting each other. But you
Good.
got to be able to work, because what happens is you render yourself ineffective. You may have the title. You may go to the
Yes.
meetings, all the commission meetings and all of that. They will respect you because you're one of the group. But behind the scene, because your name is on it, it's dead on arrival. If you don't know how, your generation has to learn how to work. Y'all were the ones, after all, who integrated, so y'all know how to work with. I didn't have to.
That's
You all
good.
have to.
Yes.
So y'all, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to do this, but we are we
The
done
top
made
hour.
it. Yeah, we done made it to the hour. So we gotta go ahead, and we ain't gotta leave yet, but I want y'all to, give y'all final remarks, because I don't want to leave Miss Judy either. You done made my whole damn day.
I
So
just want 5
yeah,
more
Oh, I'm
minutes
so
of
can
glad.
time.
we
Well,
Like,
you
got
know
time,
what?
we got
and I
time, we
can
got 5
reclaim a
more
little
minutes.
time.
Yeah,
Let's reclaim a
reclaim
little
your
bit of
time.
time from the internet
Oh, well,
issues.
I'm
Because I want to
Yes.
interested.
pick Miss
I
Judy's
really am. I'm
brain.
glad that I can contribute.
Oh
Miss
no,
Judy,
it's
don't go
awesome.
nowhere. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, you're blessing and
Oh,
helping
okay.
us, but I know that there are people watching that are taking these notes down and back to empower other people. I don't know if a lot of
Oh,
people are
okay.
even familiar with or aware of the anti-lynching bill that is named after Emmett Till. One of the
Yeah.
concerns that I have with Black leadership is, why aren't they talking about this? You have a white senator that is holding this up, and I have not heard anything from Jesse Jackson, the Rainbow Push, the churches, the Black politics, no one. So why are we not doing anything to help drive this and push this? And then also, with all of the hate crimes still happening, especially with police brutality, what are we doing around hate crimes in our various states to hold these police officers and people who are, you know, acting out in these hate crimes? How are we holding them accountable? So I wanted to,
Well,
just
you
kind of
know
have
what?
that
One of the
conversation.
you know what? One of the issues are is first of all, Jesse Jackson was part of my generation. You see, you lose credibility when you end up having babies out of wedlock, and now he's got medical problems. Okay,
Okay, I'm gonna pass that.
now let's just be real about it.
Don't
So
forget
his
what he said
focus is
about
not
Obama.
there. Okay, now I got my thoughts too, but I don't have those now. I'm sorry, but the other thing too is that what we have going, the census. We haven't talked about the census. Every
Yes.
year, I mean, every 10 years is when the boundaries are drawn. Okay, now it depends on who's in power. In Oklahoma, we got these damn Republicans, and let me tell you what we got. There's 45 people in the Senate. Guess how many Democrats? 7. There's 101 House members. Guess how many? 20 Democrats.
Wow.
And guess who's in control? Complete. We have no state officials. The governor, the lieutenant governor, all down the line of Republicans.
And how many
Now,
black
How
people
many are
do we
those
black?
issues.
have?
How
How
many
many
How many
black
of
black
them are
people
people
black,
in
do
Miss
we
Judy?
have?
Oklahoma?
Yeah, how many
Oh,
black
we got 2. We got 2 in the Senate. One from Tulsa and one from Oklahoma City, and we got 2 or 3 in the House. We got 5. Okay,
What's
so
what's the black
now
population of the state of Oklahoma?
it's less than 12%. I think
Okay.
Nehemiah would know a little bit better, but I think it's around 10 or 11. It's not many at
Okay.
all. And
But still
what
no representation, no
we
adequate
almost lost
representation.
the Senate district that we have that I served in the last census. if I had not had a working relationship with the Republican who was chair of appropriations and also was chair of redistricting. I had helped him
That's
out
important.
on some kind of project, and he came to my office and showed me Nehemiah, where over 11,000 people left North Tulsa 10 years ago. We don't know what those figures are now, and we were no longer eligible to have that special little district, carved out district. He let me write my own boundaries. Now, what I did is to call in all the black elected officials in the House and the Senate, and called in the white boy, what's his name, Eric Proctor, and we took Hispanic precincts that had voted for Obama to make up the difference, because we couldn't go past 66th Street North, because that's where you had all the white folks, trailer trash. And then you had downtown and West Tulsa. So you ask why they're not doing anything? It's because
She didn't serve her time, y'all.
Miss Judy ain't got no
you got
chill.
to,
She ain't
It
got
just
no
makes my
chill.
soul happy. I don't know what to do right now.
but it's you know,
She
yes,
done
there's
turned my
some
whole day
blame to go
around.
around, but there's a whole bunch of barriers. I
It
mean,
is.
politically,
Got it.
we have nationwide managed to get ourselves behind
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that's going on.
Yes.
I think one of the things you all got to talk about and help people to do it before it's too late is the census. That's where the monies come in.
Yes, that is.
You got to be a part of Nehemiah, watching to see how they do the boundaries, because I'm gonna tell you what, they can cut out Regina's district, they can cut out the Senate district if they want to. The one of the richest boys, Dr. Adelson's son, and I served together. They did not like him. They gave me what I wanted. They put him in almost to a Bristol or somewhere. And of course, he didn't have a Senate district. And guess what? He ain't there. He been gone.
Wow.
So there's a
true.
lot of things on. I mean, you know, yes, there's the police and all that, but
That's good.
the infrastructure, the political infrastructure, is what you're going to start having to pay attention. So you got to. That's why you were talking about when you didn't want to run for office. There are other things that people can do.
Yes.
Look at the whole picture, because I'm telling you what.
Oh no, Miss Judy, not the not the internet at the final hour.
But we're thankful for that word, though.
Right. There she
She's
goes.
still going though, but that was
Cha-cha
good.
to the left, Miss Judy. Cha-cha to the left again.
Okay, what happened? Okay, I'm back.
You back, Miss
Well,
Judy.
Be like, okay,
y'all
I'm
get
back.
the message.
No,
Yeah,
we
we got
did get
it.
the majority.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we did.
Message received, Miss Judy.
This has been
Okay.
you know, amazing, guys. I know we're wrapping it up, but Miss Judy has just blessed my soul so greatly today, because we need to have these conversations. And you know, even in looking at the comments, we are doing the work. You know, as young activists and reaching back and doing our part. And so I think that these conversations are definitely helping to empower people, but also educate people. And so, you know, in my final words, I would say definitely the census. I'm pushing a survey for grandparents and seniors right now to give them support for back to school, but also to remind them and help them with the census. And so we all have parts to do. For those that are looking on our watch parties, you know, if you're connected to a mosque, a church, you know, challenge them to reach your members. Ask them, have you completed the census? These are all ways that we can help. As much as we're going to be on our phones today, in those conversations, ask someone about the census. Ask someone, have they voted in the local election?
Yes.
Do they know who they're
Yes.
voting for? Use technology to look up these candidates. We have to eliminate excuses, be engaged, be empowered, and be connected. So let's do the work, people.
Absolutely, Brother Jason. Absolutely.
Amen.
You want to go? You want to drop a final word? I know Miss Judy done moved you. She move you all the time, but you over there just looking hella moved.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess
For
Neo's
me?
still in the
Oh,
spirit.
Nehemiah.
I know, right? I'm like,
He's still in the
you
spirit.
just like,
Sorry, I didn't know if
yeah.
y'all were talking to Miss Judy or me. I couldn't quite hear.
I said
Yeah, I didn't
Nehemiah.
know either.
Well, honestly, I'm just thankful, Miss Judy. Thank you so much for coming on and spending time with, my friends and, spitting out the true knowledge out to folks. Because, a lot of times people, period, it doesn't matter what color skin they are or how old they are, how much money they have in their account. But they never get the truth. They never get the raw,
Exactly.
unadulterated version of like what politics is really all about. And it is a dog-eat-dog world. You said it yourself that, politics, it's a political, war ring.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I appreciate you for coming. And for all those who are listening, including those in the watch parties, we are on every single Monday at 2 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we definitely want y'all to come back and see us.
Yeah.
Tanisha?
Yeah, I just want to, Miss Judy, I don't know if you know, but you blessed my whole ass soul today.
Oh, wonderful.
I came in feeling like Miss Sophia. I was feeling mighty bad. I was feeling low, but I feel like myself again.
Oh, no,
and
girl, hey. Yeah, no. Now you, it's okay to feel low for a minute, but then you got to pick up and keep going.
And that's the important thing. And I just want to thank you for helping refill that cup, because you really did. And I just want to thank you for your service to our community and for you being a dynamic Black woman. And just remind everybody, like when we talk about, again, politics, Miss Judy chose her path, which ultimately led her to be a senator. But we have positions to fill on every level. We want our community to be the great empire that it once was and that it can be. So y'all just remember that. I hope that y'all got that word. Miss Judy came through and not only talked that real shit, she dropped that real shit. If y'all didn't catch it, y'all better tune in. And I don't know about y'all, but Miss Judy is definitely an honorary member. Mama talked that real shit. She is an honorary mama.
She is. Okay,
Yes.
Tanisha, I want to, I'm all about these homework assignments. Oh, Miss Judy, go ahead. Yeah, no, you most definitely. I can't wait for when we get done and Nia's gonna give us your information, because I'm like, okay, so I know
Judy for the fans.
On
drop
Mondays,
your
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm gonna go ahead and create a schedule for us. So I know I have my check-ins and everything. So I'm excited about that. So Tanisha, you know me, I have a homework assignment, but also a call to action, because I'm all about people staying connected to the work. So there is this book. It's called Black Atlanta. So if you're watching and you're in Atlanta, this is at Walgreens. It's also at CVS. It's by Herman Skip Mason. He's a historian, alpha political strategist, very involved in our communities throughout the state of Georgia. History is power. And where we do want our young people to take over the ranks, we want them to have the knowledge to be able to do it. So pick up a book, y'all, in this season. Read, and let's get to the work. That was it, Tanisha. That's my homework assignment.
All right, y'all. We are finally about to head out. This is Tanisha, I'm still in the spirit. Tanisha, Jason, Nehemiah, and Mama Auntie Judy signing out on Talk That Real Shit. Y'all tune in next Monday. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good one.
All right, y'all. Power to the people.
Bye-bye. Love you.